Hello there, welcome to ShineTech's YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to go through Biology Paper 1 multiple choice question for 2019. So question 1 reads, Elena was walking along a road when she saw an object under a tree. When the learner touched the object, it rolled over and divided into two. Which characteristic of living organism did the object show? A. Excretion, movement, nutrition. B. Growth, reproduction, sensitivity. C. Movement, reproduction, respiration. And D. Movement, reproduction, sensitivity. So, which characteristics of living organisms did the object show? So this learner was walking along the road and then she saw an object under a tree. So when the learner touched the object, what happened is that it rolled over. Okay, so when she touched it, it rolled over and she divided into two. So rolling over shows that it moved. Okay, immediately it was touched. So it is sensed, and then after it sensed, then it moved. So we have sensitivity due to touch, and then movement due to rolling, and divided into two. So dividing itself into two is reproduction. So it showed characteristics of living organism such as movement, reproduction, and sensitivity. So the correct answer here for question 1 is D. Question 2. Which of the following correct lists the path followed by a light beam from the mirror to a viewer of the specimen under a microscope? Which of the following correctly lists the path followed by a light beam from the mirror to a viewer of the specimen under a microscope? A. Specimen, objective lens, barrel, eyepiece. Then B. Specimen, eyepiece, barrel, objective lens. C. Specimen, barrel, objective lens, eyepiece. D. Eyepiece, specimen, objective lens, and barrel. So which of these lists shows a correct path followed by a light beam from the mirror to a viewer of the specimen under a microscope? So to get this question correct, we must know the parts of the microscope. So before we look at the correct answer here, let's see these parts of the microscope which are listed here. So I have this diagram here which shows the eyepiece, the barrel, the objective lens, and the stage where the specimen is placed. Okay, so light will be reflected from the mirror. It will pass through the condenser here, and then from there it will pass through the specimen on the stage. So from the specimen, what follows is the objective lens. So it will pass through the objective lens there. Then from there it will pass through the barrel up to the eyepiece. So the correct path of light is from the specimen, followed by the objective lens, barrel, then the eyepiece. That is the order, the correct path. So eyepiece is the last. Second last is barrel. Okay, so let's get back to our question. So the correct path is from the specimen. What follows is the objective lens, then the barrel, then the eyepiece. So the correct answer here is A for question 2. We move on to question 3. So question 3. The diagram below shows a section through a leaf. So this diagram is showing a section through a leaf. Which structure is an organ and which one is a tissue? So these are the labeled structures on a section of a leaf. We have this section which is represented by P, we have that one represented by S, and then we have this one represented by R, and this structure here is represented by Q. So among all these labeled parts, which one is an organ and which one is a tissue? Okay, so we must know what an organ is and also what a tissue is. So an organ is simply a group of different tissues working together. Okay, different tissues come together to form an organ, and then from there a tissue is simply a group of similar cells. A group of similar cells performing a certain function is what we call a tissue. So an organ in this diagram is P, because we have different kinds of tissue there which are making up P. We have these cells here, the palisade cells. Okay, they are also part of P. We have these cells here, they are also part of P. So those tissues, two different kinds of tissue, they form up what we call an organ, which is represented by P in this case. Then a tissue here is R. R is a tissue. Why? Because we have this group of similar cells which are working together to perform a certain function. That is a tissue. Okay, and then this is simply two cells, so it cannot qualify to be a tissue. So a tissue must be a number of the same similar cells performing the same function. That is a tissue. So P and R, P is an organ and R is a tissue. Okay, so the correct answer here, an organ is P and a tissue is R. So the correct answer here is A for question 3. Question 4. The table below shows conditions in 4 test tubes containing equal quantities of starch and salivary amylase. Okay, so this table is just showing 4 test tubes. We have 1 up to 4 test tubes containing equal quantities of starch. So this test tube contains equal quantities of starch and this enzyme called salivary amylase. Okay, so the question continues to say, in which test tube would the starch be broken down fastest? In which test tube, 1 to 4, okay, would the starch be broken down fastest? So we have pH here and we have temperature. So most of the enzymes in the human body works well at the temperature 37. Okay, now in the mouth, okay, that's where salivary amylase is, in the saliva, that's where it is. So in the mouth the pH is 7 and the temperature must be 37, optimum temperature for salivary amylase to work very well. Okay, so the starch will be broken down fastest in test tube 4 where the pH is 7 and the temperature is 37. So the correct answer here is D. D is the correct answer, test tube 4. Question 5. The table below shows some of the nutrients in 4 meals. Which meal will be the most likely to stimulate peristalsis along the alimentary canal? Okay, so we have this table which shows nutrients in 4 meals. So we have carbohydrates, fats, lipase, and proteins. So they are saying which meal will be most likely to stimulate peristalsis along the alimentary canal. So the one which stimulates peristalsis along the alimentary canal is the one which is rich in lipase. Okay, so this is a nutrient which stimulates peristalsis. Okay, most of these nutrients, we have fibers there. Okay, so fibers also are part of the roughage which also stimulates the peristalsis. And peristalsis here is simply the contraction and relaxation of longitudinal and circular muscles of the alimentary canal which facilitate the movement of food from the mouth to the anus. That contraction process is what we call peristalsis. Okay, and it is facilitated by the help of roughage. Okay, so the correct answer here is C, which is rich in roughage. Okay, question 5, the correct answer is C. So question 6, which of the following deficiency diseases result from consuming foods that lack iodine? A, anemia, B, goiter, C, kwashiorkor, D, marasmus. So which one of these deficiency diseases result from consuming foods that lack iodine? So when you lack iodine in the body, the disease that you suffer from is goiter. Goiter is that gland-like structure which grows in your neck. And you see some individuals have enlarged gland-like structure in the neck. That is what we call goiter. Anemia is when you lack iron in your body, you are going to suffer from anemia. And then kwashiorkor is a deficiency disease for proteins. Lack of proteins, you suffer from kwashiorkor. And marasmus is carbohydrates. Lack of carbohydrates is marasmus. But iodine, a deficiency disease, is goiter. So the correct answer here is B. Question 7. Okay, so don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out any of my videos, and leave your comment concerning this video in the comment section. So question 7. Which macronutrient stimulates growth of flowers and nutrients in plants? A, magnesium, B, nitrogen, C, phosphorus, D, potassium. So the correct answer here is potassium. Potassium stimulates the growth of flowers and fruits in plants. Phosphorus stimulates the growth of roots. Okay, for roots to grow, we need phosphorus in plant. Magnesium, chlorophyll. Okay, so chlorophyll, the green pigment in the plants, is as a result of magnesium. But for flowers and fruits, it is potassium. Question 8. So question 7, the correct answer is D. Question 8. The diagram shows a variegated leaf. Okay, so the diagram shows a variegated leaf, partly covered as shown. So this leaf has been partly covered by a black paper here. And then the leaf was exposed to light for 4 hours and then tested for starch. So it was exposed to light while it has been covered with a black paper, and the black paper has a hole there. There is a hole, okay, for 4 hours, and then after that it was tested for starch. So which regions will turn blue-black? So the regions which will turn blue-black are the regions where photosynthesis took place and starch was formed. Okay, and the starch was formed. So only green parts are involved in the process of photosynthesis, and these other parts which were covered, like for the part which was covered and the part which was white, there is that part which is white in color, so that part won't take part in the process of photosynthesis to form starch. So the only part which will turn blue-black will be 2, which is green, and also that part which has a hole is also green, and starch will be found there. So part 4 and part 2 will turn blue-black, showing a positive result of starch. Okay, so the correct answer here is C, which is 2 and 4. Question 9. So question 9, the following is the dental formula of a dog. So this is a dental formula of a dog, showing the number of incisors, canines, premolars, and molars in a dog. How many incisors are in the mouth of this dog? Okay, so let's first see the dental structure of a dog. in this diagram here. So this is a dental structure. We have the dog has on half of a jaw, it has 3 incisors. Then on the other jaw, this side, we have 3 incisors. So the lower jaw, the whole lot of the lower jaw, it has 6 incisors. Okay, it has 6, meaning we have 6 on the lower jaw and the upper jaw have 6. When you add 6 plus 6, we are going to have 12. So the total number of incisors in the dog, it is 6. Okay, but if we can also use this formula here. So what you should know, in this formula, they just show half of a jaw. Okay, it just shows half. Like in this diagram here, they are just going to show half. Okay, so meaning the 3 here shows us, implies that the 3 is for the lower jaw and the other 3 is for the upper jaw. So you simply add the 2 and multiply by 2, because the other half is not considered in this formula. That will give you 12. So the correct answer here is 12. So in a dog, we have 12 incisors, which is C. Question 10. The diagram shows part of the human digestive system. What digestive juice flows through the part labeled Q? So we have this part here, which is labeled Q. So they are saying what digestive juice flows through that part? A, bile; B, gastric juice; C, intestinal juice; and D, pancreatic juice. So the correct answer is pancreatic juice. So the pancreatic duct joins with the duct which is coming from the bile duct, joins with the bile duct coming from the bile, okay, which is in the liver, and forms that duct which drains into the duodenum, which is the small intestine. Okay, so the fluid there is the pancreatic juice, because that duct is the duct coming from the pancreas. Okay, so the gastric juice is in the stomach there. That's where gastric juice is produced. Intestinal juice in the intestines, but the pancreatic juice is produced by the pancreas. Okay, and the duct joins with the bile duct coming from the bile. Okay, so the correct answer here is D, pancreatic juice. Question 11. Which of the following can be caused by excessive drinking of alcohol? A, emphysema; B, cirrhosis; C, hepatitis; D, hepatomegaly. Okay, so the correct answer here is cirrhosis. So cirrhosis is as a result of excessive drinking of alcohol. You suffer from cirrhosis. Question 12. What happens to the floor of the mouth and operculum during inspiration in fish? A, the floor of the mouth will be lowered, mouth will be open, and operculum will be closed. B, lowered, closed, closed. And C, we have raised, the floor will be raised, mouth will be closed, and operculum will be open. D, raised, the floor will be raised and the mouth will be open, operculum will be closed. So to answer this question, you must understand what happens during inspiration in fish. So there is this simple diagram here which illustrates what really happens during inhalation and exhalation in fish. So during inhalation, what will happen is that the mouth here, as you can see, needs to be open for the water to get inside. Okay, to get inside. So the mouth should be open. Then from there, the floor in the mouth should be lowered. Why? Because the floor should be lowered so that it facilitates the exchange of oxygen. Okay, gaseous exchange to take place. The floor should be lowered. The movement of water there in the mouth should be lowered, but the mouth should be open. So the floor should be lowered to allow for gaseous exchange. And then from there, the operculum, which is this part which covers the gills, should be closed. Okay, this will be closed, the mouth will be open, and the flow will be reduced to allow for gaseous exchange. That is the correct answer. So let's see our choices here. The flow in the mouth, I said, should be lowered, and then from there, the mouth should be open and the operculum should be closed. That is inspiration in fish. So the correct answer here for question 12 is A. A is the correct answer. Question 13. 4 flasks were sterilized and set up as shown. Okay, so they were sterilized and set up as shown here. So we have yeast and water at 4%. We have yeast and water at 20 degrees, at 4 degrees, and this one is at 20 degrees. Yeast, sugar, and water at 4 degrees Celsius, and we have yeast, sugar, and water at 20 degrees. So the question continues to say, which flask will contain most alcohol after several hours? So the one which will contain most alcohol is flask D, where we have yeast, sugar, and water at 20 degrees Celsius. Why? Because for this reaction to take place, we need an optimum temperature. Okay, so we also need sugar, water, and also yeast for fermentation to take place. So at 20 degrees, here we will have most alcohol as compared to these other flasks. When you look at the flask B here, we have yeast and water only. So sugar is missing. So here no fermentation will take place. Why? Because sugar is missing. Because fermentation, yeast works on sugar, okay, and water for fermentation to take place, and alcohol will be formed at optimum temperature. So the correct answer there is D. Question 14. Children under 5 years receive immunization against measles. What type of immunity do they develop after an injection against measles? A, active natural, B, active artificial, C, passive and natural, D, passive and artificial. So active and natural immunity is when the body itself produces antibodies where you suffer from a certain disease. After that, the body will develop a defense against that disease, so that next time you suffer from that disease, the body will be ready to protect itself from that disease. Okay, that is active and natural. Your own body, after suffering from a certain disease, develops a defense. Then active artificial. This is now where you are vaccinated, you are injected a dead bacteria, and then from there the body, remember, an injection is artificial, it is man-made, so it is artificial. But the one which is creating that defense is the body. The body is actively creating antibodies against that dead bacteria which has been injected as a vaccine in your body. So that is active artificial. Then passive and natural. This is where the already made antibodies pass through the placenta to the baby in the to the fetus in the womb. Okay, so there are antibodies which can pass through the placenta and go and protect the fetus in the womb. That kind of immunization is what we call passive, and it is natural. It is coming from the mother, naturally made, to the baby. Then passive artificial, this is when you inject, okay, already made antibodies or defenses injected in a person who is sick. Okay, you are injecting antibodies in the what? In the body of a patient. Okay, already made. It's not the body which is making those antibodies, but you have already made in the lab, then you inject. Okay, that defense is passive and artificial. So immunization and vaccination are active and are artificial. Okay, so what they do, they inject part of a bacteria or a virus, and then from there the body itself will develop defense against that disease. So that is active and it is artificial because it is an injection which is injected in the body. But where we inject antibodies, that is passive and artificial. So the correct answer here is B. Active and artificial is what they receive. Question 15. How is the rate of transpiration affected by decreasing temperature and light intensity? How is the rate of transpiration affected by decreasing temperature and light intensity? So transpiration is simply the loss of water vapor, okay, by the leaves. So when the leaf of plants lose water vapor through the stomata, that is what we call transpiration. So when the temperature is decreased, we expect the rate at which that water vapor is lost, which is transpiration, to be reduced, because when you increase temperature, then also the water vapor will be formed at a very high rate and transpiration will increase. Light intensity as well, if it is decreased, then we're expecting transpiration also to be slow. So the correct answer here is A, where we have slow and slow. So transpiration, when the temperature is low, it will be slow as well. When the light intensity is very low, then also the transpiration process will be low. Why here? Because water vapor is also used during what we call photosynthesis. Water and carbon dioxide, they are going to react to form glucose. So that process also utilizes water. But when the light intensity is low, meaning photosynthesis as well will be reduced, and we expect water also to do what? To the loss of water there also to be reduced. So as the result, transpiration will be slow here and it will also be slow there. Question 16. So question 15, the correct answer is A. Question 16, the diagram below shows some cells from the mammalian blood. Okay, so these are the cells from a mammal. Okay, which of the above cells break down pathogens? So we have a neutrophil here, we have the red blood cells, we have platelets here. So the one which fights pathogens is this one, which has a lobulated nucleus. So this cell is a neutrophil. It is going to engulf a bacteria and break it down. Okay, so the correct answer for question 16 is A. Question 17. The diagram below shows a longitudinal section of the heart. So this is the longitudinal section of the heart. Which of the valves labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4 are closed and which ones are open during arterial systole? During arterial systole, what happens? So when the blood are now in the arteries, they are during arterial systole. We're expecting 4 and 3 to be open to allow another phase of blood to enter the ventricles. And then 1 and 2 they are going to close so that blood which is now in the arteries should not flow back into the ventricles. Okay, so 1 and 2 will be closed and 3 and 4 will be open, okay, allowing more blood to come into the ventricles, so that blood which is in the arteries there, as it goes the next phase, again we pump the ones which the blood which will be filled in the ventricles there. So during arterial systole, 1 and 2 will be closed and 3 and 4 will be open. 1 and 2 closed, 3 and 4 open. Correct answer is B. Question 18. The diagram below shows the human excretory system. So this diagram is showing the human excretory system. What is the function of part labeled X? So this part here labeled X is what we call the bladder. So these are the kidneys. Then we have the ureter here. So that ureter is going to collect the urine which is formed by the kidneys there and pass it to the bladder where it is stored. So the bladder is going to store urine. It stores urine, and then when you feel the urge to urinate, that urine from the bladder will be passed out. It will be excreted. So the correct answer for question 18 is D. The bladder stores urine. D is the correct answer. Question 19. How does the skin maintain the body temperature at 37 degrees when a person moves from a hot to a cold environment? How does the skin maintain the body temperature at 37 degrees when a person moves from a hot to a cold environment? A. Arterioles in skin constrict. B. Arterioles in the skin dilate. C. Hairs on skin lie flat. D. Skin produces sweat. So when you move from hot to cold, the skin or the body is going to sense that there is a reduction in the temperature. Okay, so for it to maintain that 37 degrees Celsius, what will happen is that the arterioles underneath the skin are going to constrict. So when they constrict, so that little blood can flow in those arterioles and beneath the skin to reduce the loss of heat from the blood to the environment. So we are going to have arterioles constricting there. So the correct answer here is A. The hair on the skin are going to stand firm. They are going to stand so that it accumulates a certain layer of air which acts as a bad conductor as well, okay, to facilitate the the layer of air which is accumulated due to standing of what we call the hair on the skin acts as a bad conductor. So when you are in a cold place, you observe that the hair on the skin are going to stand firm. It won't fall, it won't lie flat. Okay, and then arterioles, the skin produces sweat when you are in a very hot place. When you are in a very hot place, that's when you sweat. But when you are in a cold environment, sweat won't be produced. So arterioles in the skin will constrict is the correct answer for question 19. Correct answer is A. Question 20. The diagram shows a reflex arc. Okay, so this diagram is showing a reflex arc. So which of the following is the correct sequence in the flow of an electrical impulse? Which one is the correct sequence? So we have the hand here, and then we have the section of the spinal cord there. So what happens is that this is a candle with fire there. It has been lit. And then there is a hand. So the hand is going, it has what we call sensory receptors there of pain. So sensory receptors are going to sense the heat there. Then from there, they're going to be passed. That impulse is going to be passed in what we call the sensory neurons. Okay. From P here, we have the sensory neuron, which is R. So from R in the spinal cord, we have what we call the relay neurons, which are going to pass that impulse from the sensory, which is R, to the motor neurons, which is this one here, which is going to Q. So we have the motor neurons, which are going to the muscle there, so that the muscle contract and you move the hand away from the fire there. That's how this impulse works. So the sequence is P, R, AC, then Q, which is a muscle. So P, R, AC, and Q, which is B. So the correct answer here is B for question 20. We move on to question 21. The following are some of the drugs used or abused by human beings. We have alcohol, heroin, and penicillin. Which of these drugs may be addictive, leading to possible withdrawal symptoms when their use is discontinued? So the drugs which are addictive and can lead to possible withdrawal symptoms, you have symptoms after you stop, is alcohol and heroin. So the correct answer here is 1 and 2 for question 21. The correct answer is B. Question 22. So question 21, the answer is B. Question 22. The diagram shows a section through the human eye. So this is a section through the human eye. So which structure contains the muscle which contracts to produce a focused image of the retina? So the muscle which contracts is the ciliary muscle there, which is B, the ciliary muscle. So A is the suspensory ligament. It's a ligament, it's not a muscle. Suspensory ligament holds the lens in place. But we have the ciliary muscle here, ciliary body, which contracts. Okay, so when it contracts, it produces a focused image on the retina, which is somewhere there. Then from there, D is the iris, and then we have the pupil here on C, but B is the one which contracts. So the correct answer here is B for question 22. Question 23. How are bones and cartilage similar? A, they are both rigid. B, they both act as shock absorbers. C, they both contain living cells. And D, they both produce red blood cells. So the correct answer is C. They both contain living cells. The cartilage and the bone contain living cells. Question 24. The diagram below shows 3 shoots exposed to light coming from one direction. So this is the light coming from one direction, and these are the 3 different shoots. How will these plant shoots look like after 48 hours? So after 48 hours, these shoots should grow towards the light. That is positive phototropism. So they will grow towards the light. So the correct answer here is D. As you can see, they are all growing towards the light. Okay, they are showing positive phototropism. So the shoot will grow toward the light, which is D for question 24. Question 25. The diagram below shows part of a shoot tip. So this diagram is showing part of a shoot tip. Which of the parts labeled A, B, C, and D is a region of cell elongation? So the correct answer here is B. B is the region of cell elongation. A is the region of cell differentiation. Cells are going to differentiate, and then from there they're going to enlarge and elongate in B. In C, we have cell specialization. So elongation is in B. The correct answer there is B for question 25. Question 26. So question 26, the following diagrams show the germination of broad bean seed. Okay, so we have broad bean seed, and we have mustard seed. We also have the sunflower seed. So these diagrams are just showing germination of these 3 different seeds. Then they are asking to say what type of germination is shown by these seedlings. What type of germination is shown here? So we have 2 types of germination. We have epigia and hypogia. Okay, so in epigia, what is observed is that the cotyledon of the seed is also exposed outside the ground when the seedling is germinating. That is under epi. Okay, epi, that word epi means upper, like in the epidermis, okay, or the upper. Now in this case it is outside the ground, not in the ground, on top of the ground. The cotyledons are also exposed. Then hypogia. Hypo means low. or under. So hypogea, we are going to see that the seed will remain in the ground. Hypo, so they will be in the ground. The seed cotyledon won't be exposed outside the ground. That is the difference between epi and hypo. So wherever you see the seed or the cotyledon in the ground, then that is hypo. When the cotyledon is also exposed, that is epigea, germination. So in this case here, we have these seedlings. This is the ground. Okay, we can see that here the seed has been exposed, so that is epigea, and here also the seed is going to be exposed. The root here has grown, so that seedling will come out with the seed anytime soon, so that is also epigea. But in this case here, this is hypo. Why? Because the seed is remaining, and the shoot there, the germinating part is just coming out alone without a seed. So this is hypo, epi, epi. So the correct answer here is A, which is showing broad seed, hypogea, epigea, which is the seed, the cotyledon is exposed, and epigea here as well. So the correct answer is A for question 26. Question 27. So question 27, which of the following is a disadvantage of vegetative propagation? A, plants are usually overclouded. B, plants are widely dispersed. C, plant population grows slowly. D, varieties of useful plants are kept unchanged. Okay, so here the disadvantage of vegetative is what is observed in banana plants, and also in sweet potatoes, where no seeds are produced, but you simply cut the stem, or you get a small plant and plant it elsewhere. So in bananas, for example, in banana plants, you observe overcrowding of plants in one area. That is a disadvantage, okay, because those plants will be fighting for nutrients, will be fighting for sunlight, okay. So that is a disadvantage which is observed. Varieties of useful plants are kept unchanged. That is an advantage. This is an advantage, because if very good plants are unchanged, meaning their use will be also unchanged, they will remain the same, and then if we want to use them, we'll find them unchanged. Okay, so that is an advantage. Why? Because useful plants are unchanged, are kept unchanged. Okay, so if they change, then meaning we won't have access to that useful thing we were getting from them, because they have changed. But if they are unchanged, meaning they will remain the same, and we'll be able to access them each and every time we want them, because they won't change. So that is an advantage. Okay, but the disadvantage here is that overcrowding, they will fight for nutrients and sunlight. That is not a good thing. So that is a disadvantage. So question 27, the correct answer is A. Question 28. The following shows a marigold fruit magnified 3 times. So this is a fruit which has been shown there. So the above fruit is dispersed by A, animals, B, self mechanism, C, water, D, wind. So when you look at this fruit here, it has hook-like structures which can get stuck on an animal, and when the animal moves from that place to another place, the seed or the fruit will be dispersed. So this fruit here is showing animal dispersal. So animal is the correct answer here. Question 29. So the correct answer for question 28 is A, animal. Question 29. The diagram shows the male reproductive and urinary systems. So it is showing male reproductive and urinary system. Which structure produces the fluid part of semen? Fluid part of semen is produced in structure C. So B is the urinary bladder, A is the ureter, which is coming from the kidney. But the one which produces the fluid here is C. In D here, this is where production of sperms is taking place. So the correct answer for question 29 is C. That's where the fluid part of semen is produced. Question 30. A natural method of birth control assumes that sperm live for 3 days after sexual intercourse. Ovulation occurs between days 13 to 15 of the menstrual cycle, and released ova lives for 36 hours. On which day of the cycle would sexual intercourse not result in pregnancy? Okay, so they are saying a sperm can live up to 3 days. And then the ovulation occurs between day 13 to 15. And the released ovum can live up to 36 days, which is about a day and a half. Okay, so on which day of the cycle would sexual intercourse not result into pregnancy? So let's see. So they are saying A, day 7, B, day 10, and then we have C, day 12, D, day 16. So the day which won't result in pregnancy is day 7. Why? Because if sexual intercourse is done on day 7, then that sperm will only live for 3 days. So if it lives for 3 days, you add 3 to that 7, it will be 10. Okay, by that day 10, then that sperm will die. Okay, so it won't result into a pregnancy because the egg will be released by day 13 to 15 in those days. So from 7 to 10, nothing will happen. So the correct answer here is A. But when you look at day 10, so day 10, if you have sexual intercourse in this case, the sperm will live for 3 days, and by day 13, the egg will be released and it will be fertilized, and that will result in a pregnancy. Day 12 as well, you add 3, it will be 12, 13, 14. By day 14, the egg will be ovulated, fertilization will take place. By day 16 as well, because the ova lives for 36 days. So if it is ovulated on day 15, the following day it will also be there. Okay, the following day and half, meaning day 16, it will still be there, and another addition of 12 hours because this is 36 hours. So a day and a half. So the correct answer is A. Day 7 won't result in pregnancy. Question 31. The diagram shows a fetus in the uterus. So it is showing a fetus in the uterus. Which structure removes excretory products from the fetus? Which structure removes excretory products, which are the waste products from the fetus? So the structure here is the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord, it has arteries which brings oxygen and nutrients to the fetus, and the vein which removes carbon dioxide, which is the waste product, and other waste products back to the placenta, and the placenta will also facilitate the movement of those waste products to the bloodstream of the mother and excreted in the excretory organs of the mother. So here the structures involved in excretion is the umbilical cord and the placenta there. So that is Q and R. So Q and R is B. B is the correct answer for question 31. Question 32. What is the advantage of male circumcision? A. It prevents the spread of HIV and other STIs. B. It helps the man enjoy sex more. C. It prevents spread of cervical cancer. D. It helps the female enjoy sex more. So when you are circumcised or circumcision, that outer layer of the penis is going to harden to prevent what we call injuries during dry sex. So those injuries, if they are prevented, meaning the spread of HIV will also be reduced. Okay, they say 68%. It protects the person who has been circumcised to conduct that HIV by 68%. Okay, so it doesn't mean that when someone is circumcised can't conduct the HIV virus, but it prevents, okay, up to 68%. So circumcision will prevent the spread of HIV in that the injuries during sex will be minimized because that foreskin has been removed, and the sensitive skin which remains will harden. And when it hardens, then the injuries during sex will be reduced, hence prevention of spread of HIV. Okay, but it is not 100%. So here the correct answer is A. Question 33. The following are examples of characteristics in humans. We have eye color, height, body mass, sex. Which of the above characteristics are examples of continuous variation? So continuous variation is height and body mass. Okay, is continuous. Height is continuous. So height and body mass are continuous variation. Eye color and sex are discontinuous. Why? Because you can only be a male or a female. Then eye color, you can only have a certain color of the eye. You can have brown eyes, or you can have blue eyes or green. Okay, you don't have blue green eyes, no. That's why it is discontinuous. But height, you can have any number, okay, as height. It's not grouped into two. And body mass also, it's not categorical, it's not grouped into two groups, but you can have any number as your body mass. That's why it is continuous. So the correct answer is 2 and 3, which is C. Question 33, the correct answer is C. Question 34. A woman has blood group O. Her child also has blood group O. What is the likely blood group genotype of the father to the child? So the mother has blood group O and gives birth to a child with blood group O. So for a child to have a blood group O, meaning the father as well should be blood group O or a carrier of that blood group. Because for you to have blood group O, you must have all the two genes from the mother and the father, or the alleles should be of blood group O. So the mother is already blood group O, so meaning the father as well should have a gene for blood group O. So the correct answer here is D, is the correct answer. Why? For you to inherit blood group O, you must get an allele from the mother of blood group O and allele from the father of blood group O. So in this case, the mother is already blood group O, so the father as well should have that gene or the allele for blood group O. So the correct answer is D. 35. Which of the following is the smallest and mostly used taxon in classifying living organisms? A. Class. B. Kingdom. C. Phylum. D. Species. Okay, so the one which is smallest is the species. Okay, mostly used species. The species name is the name that we use to name the organism itself. For example, humans, Homo sapiens. That is a species name. So it's the most frequent. If you want to consider that group of organisms, we use the species name. So it's the most used and the smallest. So the smallest here is the species. So it goes like the kingdom is the biggest, followed by the phylum, and then class. After the class, we come to genus and species. So the species is the smallest. This word, smallest. The correct answer is D. Question 36. An experiment was carried out to investigate the drainage, to investigate the drainage of soil samples from 4 different fields. Equal amounts of soil and water were used. The diagram shows the results of this investigation. So this diagram is showing the results of the investigation which was taken. So, which soil sample was clay? Okay, so what happened was that they had this funnel here, these funnels. Then in these funnels, they had put soil in there, different types of soil. Then they poured water on top of these funnels. And they observed that in this first beaker, they collected this amount of water, and here they collected that amount of water. Here it was the least, and there it was at least. Here they also collected water. So they're saying which one is clay. So clay soil is the least permeable soil. Okay, so we are going to observe that the little amount of water will be drained in clay soil, but in sand soil it is the most porous, so it has big large pores where water can be drained. So it is most permeable soil, that is sand. We are going to collect a lot of water in sand soil and gravel. And then from there, we're going to collect the little water in clay soil. So that is 3. So the correct answer here is C, clay soil. The soil sample was clay in 3. Question 37. The diagram shows what happens to the energy that enters the atmosphere from the sun. So it is showing what happens to the energy, sun energy, that enters the atmosphere on Earth here from the sun. So 2% is absorbed by plant, 16 is reflected away, 32 warms the ground, 50% evaporates water. So how much of the sun's energy is not used for photosynthesis? So the one which is used for the photosynthesis is the 2% which is absorbed, meaning the 98% is not used for photosynthesis, is not used. So the correct answer is D, more than 98%, because that 2% which is absorbed by plant, it is not all of it which is used for photosynthesis. Other percentage is also used for other things in the plant. So more than 98% is not used for photosynthesis. Correct answer for question 37 is D. Question 38. Plants and animals living in a particular area at a particular time are collectively called a community. So community are plants and animals living in a particular area at a particular time. Collectively is called a community. So the correct answer there is A. Question 39. Which of the following is undertaken to minimize the pollution of the air from motor vehicle exhaust fumes? So A, paying carbon tax, B, stopping using vehicles, C, using air filters, and D, using catalytic converters. Okay, so you use catalytic converters to do what? To minimize pollution. So even when you filter the air, what will happen? That gas which is toxic will also be generated in the earth, hence cause pollution. But if you use a converter, catalytic converter, let's say carbon monoxide is produced during combustion, and then you get that carbon monoxide and convert it to another gas which is not toxic, then you are minimizing the air pollution. So D is the correct answer in this case. Question 40. Which one of the following is not an economic reason for maintaining biodiversity? A. Charcoal production. B. Source of food. C. Source of medicine. D. Tourist attraction. So the one which is not economical is source of food. Okay, so biodiversity, if you maintain biodiversity as just for food, then it is not economical. But if charcoal production, you sell charcoal, your economy grows. You source of medicine, you may produce medicine, you sell, that is economical. Tourist attraction, they pay money, that is economical. But source of food is not economical. So the correct answer for question 40 is B. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comment concerning this video, please. For me to continue making these videos, you need to subscribe and leave your comment in the comment section. Thank you very much.